It was the most horrific, haunting night of my life. It still sends shivers down my spine. I'm 28 years old, and my boyfriend Todd lives in a different state from me. We take turns visiting each other for the most part, but I'll usually end up visiting him more often because he has his own place, and I still live with my sister as a roommate. I was going up there for a week because it was winter break, and I had off because I'm a teacher, so I packed a lot. I was taking up there my crappy '09 Hyundai Sonata that I bought for my sister. Up where Todd lives, there was snow on the ground at this point, so the more north I got, the more careful I had to be driving, as that car was not really built for driving in the snow. It was on the later side, and unfortunately, it was starting to snow really hard now. There were blizzard warnings earlier, but both Todd and I agreed it would be better to try and beat the blizzard tonight rather than come tomorrow when the roads are full of snow. I started to accept the fact that I'd need to stay somewhere for the night, as I was still too far away, and the roads were getting bad. After stopping for a quick sandwich and some coffee at a small diner, the waitress who I was conversing with told me there's no way I should be on the roads right now. She recommended a few hotels and motels in the area. Then, after she walked away and I was left alone to finish up eating, a guy sitting at the bar spun in his chair and said to me there's a motel right up the road from here. When I put the motel's name into my phone, it said it was literally 5 minutes away. He said it was nice and cheap too, so I could just get a quick night's rest and get back on the road tomorrow. He really seemed to overhear my whole conversation with the waitress. He was also just sitting there at the bar with a beer. I'd never seen a person go to a diner just to drink. I didn't even know diners really served alcohol. But people up by Todd are a little weird. To me at least, because I grew up in the city. The man introduced himself as Toby, and I gave him a fake name saying I was Michelle. The rest of my time there, Toby was half facing me in his spinning bar stool, and I wasn't really looking to keep talking to him. So I looked away out the window to the snow until the waitress gave me my check. Then I said goodbye to them both as I left. In that half hour I spent in the diner, the snow accumulated at least an inch. I needed to get to that motel ASAP. I drove slow and was at the motel in a few minutes, maybe 10. There were a couple cars in the lot. It looked like a cheap motel, which was all I needed. I didn't want to waste money anyway. I went to the front desk and asked for a room for a night. I think I paid around $50, and the man at the desk handed me a key to one of the downstairs rooms. I walked back outside to my car to get my stuff and bring it inside. It was a tiny little room with tacky wallpaper, a queen-sized bed, and a red carpet. It was fine for the night. I tried to FaceTime Todd, but there was no reception at all here. The motel had Wi-Fi, but the password was probably at the front desk. So I put my shoes back on and hurried outside through the cold snow to the front desk. On my way there, I noticed there was a new car in the parking lot. I saw someone sitting inside of it, but I didn't take the time to look at who it could have been because realistically, who does that? The man at the front desk emotionlessly pointed to the free Wi-Fi sign with the password, and I typed it in. It took a minute, but I was connected. I went back to my room in a hurry, locked the door, and FaceTimed Todd. Even with Wi-Fi, the connection was so shitty. I could see his face, but it would freeze frame for like 5 seconds, and his voice would cut as well. I was able to at least communicate with him that I was safe in the motel. We decided to just text instead because the FaceTime wasn't really working. We were texting back and forth for a few minutes. Then I heard something come from the bathroom. I leaned forward and saw that the bathroom door was shut. Was it shut before? I didn't remember. I texted Todd that I heard something in the bathroom, and I started freaking out because I realized I ran to the front desk without locking the motel room door. He asked if the door locks by itself. I said I don't think so, but now I also don't remember if I left the door cracked open or not. He told me to get up and check the door to see if it locks by itself when it closes, and to bring the key with me. I got up, put my shoes on, and saw that the door had a traditional twisting lock that moved with the knob from the inside or the key on the outside. I opened the door, looking to confirm this, but I noticed instantly the extra set of footprints leading to my door. These footprints led from that car that I saw someone sitting in to my door, and nobody was in that car anymore. I felt like screaming, but instead I closed the door to my room and ran to the front desk. I cried to the man that there's an intruder in my room. The front desk worker was not some huge jacked dude, so I don't think he was wanting to go confronting someone. He told me to wait in here, and he called someone. I thought he was calling the police, but instead he started speaking in some other language. I think he was calling a friend or associate. He hung up and told me again to just sit tight in here with him. I was standing in a position where I could see out the glass down to my room, and I let out a shriek when I saw the door to my room open and that man Toby from the diner walking to his car. We locked eyes for a second before he got in his car and backed out onto the unplowed roads, disappearing slowly down the road. The front desk worker's associate or friend or whoever it was arrived a while later. He was this big guy who didn't speak English. I don't know what they were saying to each other, but the front desk worker told me he would give me a different room free of charge to make me feel better. I didn't feel better, but I didn't have any other options of places to stay at this point. I took the new key, and the two men helped me move my stuff into the new room. Todd offered to come here, but I told him not to. It would be too long and too dangerous to drive in the dark and the snow. The next morning, the streets were somewhat plowed, enough to get through the rest of the drive to Todd's. Looking back, I don't like how that motel worker probably didn't call the cops because he didn't want his motel to get any negative attention. I called that diner to warn them about that man. I have no trust in strangers anymore. Not after this.